Hello, our dear viewers, and welcome to a new edition of our program, Africa Today. In today's edition, we are dedicating this episode to the activities of President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi. The President attended on Wednesday morning the annual celebration of Laylat al-Qadr organized by Al-Azhar Institution. President al-Sisi said the Muslims' holy night of Laylat al-Qadr inspires us with all the meanings of goodness, blessing and mercy and upholding of human ideals and values. In his speech, the President prayed to God on that sacred occasion to preserve the country and to bless all the Islamic nation with goodness, peace and safety. President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi has announced that a wide-ranging political dialogue addressing economic and political priorities will be held soon. President al-Sisi also promised he would attend the final stage of the dialogue and ensure that its recommendations are implemented. More details.
President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi assigned a National Youth Conference to conduct political dialogue with all parties and youth political powers on the current priorities of national action and to present its outcomes to him personally. President al-Sisi remarks came during the Egyptian family Iftar Banquet, which was being held every year since 2017 with the participation of all segments of the society. Following President al-Sisi's statement, the National Training Academy announced its adoption of the present directives and that it would hold a number of meetings between all elements of the various political and youth forces aimed at developing a national ideas agenda to deal with all the pressing issues. Leaders of Sinai tribes and representatives from farmers and political parties, in addition to artists, intellectuals, academics, businessmen, youth and women attended the event. During his speech, President al-Sisi spoke about the current economic situation in the country, issuing a set of economy-related directives, chief among which was directing the government to hold an international press conference to declare the state's plan to deal with the crisis. He also assigned the government to support local wheat farmers in Egypt and to provide them financial and service incentives to increase Egypt's local wheat production and reach self-sufficiency. The President also called on the ministries and institutions to continue to offer the basic commodities nationwide at set-aside prices to citizens until the end of the year. Moreover, President al-Sisi stated that the upcoming period would witness a double support to the private sector to allow it to be able to do its role in supporting the development of the economy. He also assigned the government to announce a program for the private sector to participate in state-owned assets with a target of $10 billion annually for a period of 4 years, as well as to start offering stakes from state-owned companies on the Egyptian Stock Exchange.
President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi announced the reactivation of the Presidential Pardon Committee, adding that the military-owned companies be offered on the EGX before 2022 end. He added that the government will hold an international press conference soon to announce the state's plan to deal with the global economic crisis. The remarks came during the annual Iftar ceremony called the Egyptian Family Iftar, which took place on Tuesday.
President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi directed the government to hold an international press conference soon to announce the state's plan to deal with the global economic crisis. During the event, President al-Sisi praised the Egyptians who bore the woes and difficulties of the economic reforms. He also announced the launch of an initiative to support and localize major industries by strengthening the role of the private sector in expanding the industrial base. Moreover, the President said that the President Pardon Committee will be reactivated. The committee was one of the outcomes of the National Youth Conference. Meanwhile, it cooperates with the component agencies and relevant civil society organizations. President al-Sisi also directed the government to announce a clear plan to reduce the debt to GDP ratio. Nevertheless, President al-Sisi indicated that the government will start listing military-owned companies on the Egyptian exchange EGX before the end of 2022. President al-Sisi indicated also that the state had previously depleted its foreign exchange reserves in the chaotic period that followed 2011 and 13 revolutions, adding that no president would have overcome that crisis. Al-Sisi also added that Egyptians tolerated the tough but necessary reforms which took place in parallel with rebuilding and developing the country's infrastructure. During the iftar, Sisi welcomed the great efforts of the residents of Sinai and their cooperation with the state. On another note, Sisi mentioned the incident documented by the TV series Al-Ikhtiyar, The Choice, were real. He noted also that Egypt went through a difficult period, but the state came out victorious. He highlighted that the Arab neighbors' support in 2013 and beyond contributed to the preservation of the Egyptian state.
President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi is set to open, he opened on Wednesday the historical and sacred Imam Hussein Mosque in Old Cairo Governorate after it was closed for 2 weeks for restoration and maintenance work. The mosque was open for worshippers and daily prayers on the first day of Ramadan. The president was actually accompanied today by the Sultan of Bahara sect in India, Sultan Muhammad Saifuddin.
President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi inaugurates on Wednesday Al-Hussein Mosque after the completion of the renovation work, including the restoration of the Imam al-Hussein Muslim. The president is said to be accompanied by Sultan Mufaddal Saifuddin, Sultan of the Bahara sect in India, and his sons and brothers, including Prince Gawhar Izzuddin and Prince Jafar al-Sadiq Saifuddin and Mr. Muhammad Hassan, the Sultan's representative to Egypt. President spokesman Bassem Rodi said that the renovation of the Hussein Mosque comes after President al-Sisi directives to restore and renovate the Muslims and tombs of the family of Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him. The directives included the renovation of the mosque of the Sayyidah Nafisa, Sayyidah Zainab, and the internal halls of Al-Hussein Mosque while preserving its architecture, grandeur, and to ensure that they are in harmony with the historical and spiritual nature of these places. Then the restoration work also included a total ramp to the utilized services and roads and bridges leading to the mosque and these places, as the state is leading efforts to revamp the monumental sites in the Fatimid and historical Cairo. The spokesman added that thanks to the deeply rooted relations with the Bahara sect, the Bahara Sultan has led efforts to restore these places of the family of Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, and a number of historical mosques in the country. The Bahara Sultan also participated in a number of charity activities for the Bahara sect in Egypt, as well as giving donations to Al-Tahya Mosque Fund.
To shed more light on the issue of the family reunion or the family iftar, which was taking place yesterday, we are very much delighted to be joined over the phone by Dr. Freddy Bayadi, who actually did attend the Egyptian family banquet on Tuesday. Dr. Freddy, good afternoon to you.
Hi, good afternoon to you.
Sir, indeed, in the Egyptian family banquet, President Sisi assigned the National Youth Conference to conduct political dialogue with all parties and youth political powers on the current priorities of the national action. What's your take on that decision?
Actually, the event itself was a great mosaic of having a variety of different political spectrums and leaders of different political parties attending the same event and having the same meal. And I believe it has a great, deep symbolic meaning, more far than having a meal together. And the president actually explained this in his statements and his decisions, that Egypt is a country for everybody, and he is actually empowering the freedom of political expression and the political diversity. And there is a need for every opinion. And he said that I accept those who agree with me and those who are different and who don't accept me even. Yes. So I believe this event can be a point actually of empowering and improvement in our political life, and the statements and the decisions taken by the president in his statements, implementing these decisions will actually have a great positive effect on our political future, and it will actually all add on to benefit of our country. And he actually gave a lot of statements regarding political freedom, regarding the committee that will actually work on the release of political prisoners, on the economy. He was transparent about our economic problems, and he commanded the government to have the cabinet to have the international press conference very soon to explain their plans about the economy the coming time, and which is actually a great concern for every Egyptian, the future of our economy. So I believe actually this event was a very strategic and a very important event, and will actually result in a lot of positive practical steps in different aspects in the coming time.
Sir, why is it important to hold the national dialogue on the ongoing economic hardships and the efforts led by the state in this very critical time to the whole world?
It's very important to hear the different opinions, and I believe having different opinions usually result in better decisions. You cannot only listen to one side of the dialogue. So, and I believe that all the political spectrums in the political field now, they are all loyal to the country, and they are all aiming to a better future and better benefits for the country, even if their strategies are different, the way of analysis is different. So the approach that the president is taking the coming time is listening to different approaches, different political opinions. I believe this will help a lot, and it's good to listen to each other. This actually will reach a moderate view and an agreement about what's going on and what's going to happen in the next time in our country.
Yes. Sir, the President referred to the priorities of the national action. What should be the priorities of the national action amid the current economic situation?
I believe regarding the economy that we should work on investing in more productive economy, and more economy that will help exporting, will help factories to be more empowered. This will actually be reflected on the future economy, and we should reduce the policies of unnecessary expenses, or reprioritize our expenses and our projects to reduce the expenses. This would be actually the main point, and I believe that the government should consider these strategies in the coming time.
Sir, actually the President announced a set of decisions, including directing the government to hold an international press conference to declare the state's plan to deal with the crisis. How has the government been dealing with the economic hardship so far?
My belief that the government actually has taken some correct financial measures, but they were not as good in taking economic decisions or economic measures. And this has to be reconsidered, the economic decisions, and this is mainly by they should change their strategy in using the loans we received. Every nation receives loans, but the way you are dealing with loans, I believe that we should invest more in, as I said, productive economy and exporting stuff, and empowering factories, empowering the private sector to take its shares in the economy. This would actually help the economy to get much better and reduce the inflation that we are suffering from.
Yes. Another decision actually is to support the farmers to shore up the wheat supply in the aftermath of the Russian-Ukrainian crisis and its repercussion on the international wheat supplies. What are your thoughts, Dr. Bayadi, on that decision as well?
I believe that we should actually, and the President actually elaborated on that we have some projects, agricultural projects, to increase our production of wheat. And we are suffering, of course, of the increase of population, more consumption over the past years. And this actually is our main problem, is the wheat consumption. We have self-satisfaction from almost all other food products, but this should be the main thing that we should work on. So I believe that our country is already considering internal production or increase or internal production of the wheat, and also having alternate ways of importing wheat, and I believe that they will be successful to cure our needs in the coming time.
Indeed, Dr. Fredi Albayadi, many thanks for being our guest for today. Our dear viewers, we'll go to a short break, and after that we'll be back with our program Africa Today, so stay tuned. Welcome back, our dear viewers, and back to our episode where we are going to talk about today's inauguration for the renovation work at Al Hussein Mosque, as well as the celebration marking Laylat al-Qadr. To shed more light on that, we are very much to be joined by Dr. Hiba Salah. She is a gender studies researcher and Islamic researcher. Dr. Hiba, good afternoon to you.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon.
Dr. Hiba, earlier today, President Sisi witnessed the celebration of Laylat al-Qadr, which was held by the Ministry of Endowment. In his speech, the President stressed on the necessity of modest religious discourse. How do you see the importance of such a move of the creation or reaching a real modest religious discourse?
First of all, I wish everyone blessed days and blessed Eid, inshallah. It's important to reach out to people, as we are witnessing through the discourse presented in the discourse of the institution, talking to people according to their needs. People have questions, so we have to be ready to respond to these questions according to the change of time, according to the change of their condition. So this is the core of the word changing or updating or getting to people with a religious discourse that everyone can understand. I think this is what we are witnessing these days or over the past 2 years since President Sisi called on renewing the religious discourse, and he is so active in this respect.
Yes. Dr. Hiba, the importance of reaching a modest religious discourse in order to encounter any extremist ideology. How do you see that move, and how we can encounter any extremist ideology to be developed?
Actually, I have to mention the experience of the work we are doing at Egypt. Dar al-Ifta had the initiative in 2014 for taking the start of this process. First thing we did at Dar al-Ifta, we established an observatory for monitoring the extremist discourse or extremist fatwas that some people, especially young people, can find online. Since we are in a smart age and everyone has a smart device, it's so easy to reach out to this extremist discourse. So we have to monitor this discourse, analyze it, and reach out to people with one moderate, talented discourse. The idea is to counter ideology with another ideology, to counter these extremist thoughts with another moderate, simple discourse. And we are focusing on the smart, or on the young people. Young people are more vulnerable to these extremist ideas because it's easily to attract them to be or to fall as a prey in the grasp of this discourse. So we are working on this. We have now at Egypt Dar al-Ifta a special unit for dialogue. We receive young people, we receive, especially from the age of university, people at university. We receive them on daily basis just to have a dialogue, just to brainstorm and start from A to Z in the question they are asking. So I think we have to be producing another discourse that people can find online also, since we are in the digital age. We had last year, we had a big international conference. It was about the digitalized world, fatwa in a digitalized world, how to reach the people through their devices. We started launching an application that people can send their questions and instantly receive the answer to these questions. So I think this is the perfect way to contain these extremist ideas.
Indeed. Dr. Hiba Salah, our Islamic researcher, thank you very much for your precious input and for being our guest for today. Our dear viewers, we come here to the end of this special edition of our program Africa Today. Till tomorrow with another quiz. Goodbye. Many thanks for watching.